Hey guys, this video is well into the episode The Drumhead, so if you have not seen it from the beginning, click in the top right because you're doing yourself a favor. Not going to make sense if you don't. The problem with justice is that it can be very vague. Someone can do harm in the name of justice due to fear or hate to punish, or try to obtain justice to ensure a society is safe and well preserved. It all comes down to the intentions of the person. In the last episode, we ended with Tarsus being accused of lying on his entrance papers to the Federation. The man being declared not only a liar, but a criminal. A criminal not for being a spy or a saboteur, which was the point of the inquiry, but for falsifying documents. It was claimed that Tarsus had Romulan ancestry, not Vulcan. However, I can see the argument for why this could be considered grievous. First, Tarsus hid the fact that he had a Romulan lineage, allegedly at least. The Romulans are an enemy that would see the Federation fractured if they could. But more importantly, Tarsus may have lied. At this point, Starfleet was considering itself a military, and in a military, you have to trust the person next to you. Now, should this be a career ender? I'm inclined not to think so, but I'm open to the conversation, especially if you served. Though I don't think it should be a limiter if you didn't and you still have an opinion, so let me know. With Tarsus taking his guarantee against self-incrimination, Satie's hooks can clearly be seen dug into Worf. Which, side note, why is the tactical and security officer of the flagship now dedicating assets into researching Tarsus? Shouldn't he and his security team stay focused on the security of the Enterprise D and it now be transferred to a starbase, and thus Starfleet intelligence? Just saying. In any case, Worf is now full steam ahead on investigating Tarsus. Again, this entire thing is beyond ludicrous. We don't even have confirmation yet that Tarsus has Romulan ancestry. Remember, he took the guarantee against self-incrimination, but that could be for multiple reasons. Maybe it's related to him having Romulan blood. Maybe it's related to the fact that he can't read and thus just put the wrong name because he was copying something he found on the internet. That's the point of the guarantee. It's so that you don't incriminate yourself. On what is the question? They've already caught the real spy and they know that there is no sabotage. So you can see how insane this is by just removing what can't be utilized against Tarsus. Without the sabotage, all you have is a Klingon spy you know was working for the Romulans. You also have a person with the medical department doing his job that may or may not have lied about his heritage, and then nothing else. There is no evidence that they collaborated, no evidence that Tarsus has ever been a traitor. But none of that matters now. Worf orders his team to begin searching into the last 5 years of Tarsus's life, looking at his friends, his school friends, family. It's not enough for a man to be guilty of something. Oh no, everyone he associated with is as well. And you know, I wish I could say that I found it funny that the writers included Worf wanting polygraph tests as a way of mocking people who act like Worf, polygraphs being notoriously bunk science, and in fact allow sociopaths to pass with flying colors. But I doubt the writers knew it at the time and probably meant this as a legitimate way of finding people who were guilty. Still funny though. The next interaction between Worf and Picard is simply amazing. You can see the distinction between the two people. Now, it's important to remember that both Worf and Picard are the good guys. They're both heroes. Both protagonists wanting to do what is right. However, the divide between them is massive. The show does a wonderful job at distinguishing the differences between who is right and who is wrong. Not only does it do that, but in fact, it's done so well that Worf is written as not even seeing that he is in the wrong. Often in writing and in shows, the character will know that there's something up with the way that they're acting, but they continue to do it, even though they clearly know that for some reason they're not going the way they should be. But in this episode, he doesn't believe he's wrong. And that makes it good writing. And so, because Worf thinks he's doing what is right, Picard has to explain it to him. Worf doesn't see how he has fallen from grace, which is exactly what happens to all of us in the real life if you think about it. No one, generally, knows that they are going against what is morally right. They are just so passionate about it that they are willing to attack anyone as long as the dogma is kept. As stated, Picard begins discussing what is wrong with this entire affair. He goes through what the quote-unquote Drumhead trial is, which, for those who haven't watched the episode in a while, was when military officers would hold their own form of court, with decisions being made quickly and punishments being harsh. It was often done on a, wait for it, drumhead. These cases were all for show though, as the persons brought to the court were basically doomed. And Worf's reaction to being presented to what he is doing is perfect. It completely encapsulates the entire episode and what comes with people wanting to punish others and not caring about what the truth is. Worf states that the Klingon spy was there on board. Picard agrees that the Klingon spy was captured and admitted his guilt. And for that, he would be punished. And then, the most notable thing, cringeworthy by Worf, but so important. Worf states that Tarsis has all but done the same. And why does he say that? Because Tarsis took his right to not self-incriminate. Think about that. There is a man that has admitted to being a spy, and then you have a completely different man who is just as guilty as he is, because at best, this guy lied on an entrance exam. Seriously, I would get beyond self-righteous about this right now if it wasn't happening in 2019. How many times are people associated with another person because they don't agree or have committed a lesser act? I mean, hell, you have people today who are being attacked simply because they want to wait for due process before attacking someone. People who have been victims of a crime that they don't want to put on someone else until it's been through court are getting harassed on Twitter because they just won't listen and believe. Alright, now that I got my required commentary that will guarantee unsubs out of the way, focusing back on the show itself, Picard completely shuts down Worf here, explaining association does not mean you are guilty. And he's right, because it doesn't. Worf then only continues to prove how lost he is at the moment, how much he doesn't care. Mr. It doesn't matter what happened with my father and the Romulans, that's a personal matter, tries to utilize the fact that Tarsis opted to use his protections against self-incrimination as a way of showing that Tarsis is guilty of something. And I know I've brought it in a couple of times, but remember, Tarsis never admitted that he had Romulan blood. He pleaded his right against self-incrimination, the seventh guarantee in the Federation's constitution. And while looking at that, this guarantee is most likely based on the Western justice system. And while it's not perfect, most modern justice systems in the Western world are geared towards ensuring that someone who is not guilty stays free. A part of this is not allowing the state to force someone to testify against themselves, or force the defendant to prosecute their own case. In theory, it is extremely tough to put someone in jail. This is the only way to ensure that the average citizen doesn't have to fear an overzealous government. Worf completely personifies the terror that one should fear if a state was allowed to move forward and utilize someone's silence against themselves. Worf has already convicted Tarsis in his mind due to a loose association and an unwillingness to talk. Worf isn't taking the time to find the truth. He just wants to find as many people as he can who he deems as quote-unquote enemies and gets rid of them. The scene is powerful because I think it portrays Worf as basically the everyman, most people we see in social media today. Worf is the person who is watching two titans and being drawn into one side or the other. You have Sati, who wants to go after everyone and everything, and Picard, who thinks that rights actually mean something. You know, I got a lot of comments in my last video about McCarthy, about how he was right, that he took down the Communist Party and he was stopping communist spies. And that very well may be true, I honestly don't know, but at what cost? What I do know about McCarthyism is that innocent men and women were going to jail and being barred in the public's eye. The country may have been safer, sure, but now they had a state that would attack you for what you believe, so is that really worth it? Worf and Sati might make it a lot harder for the Romulans to infiltrate the Federation. However, where does it stop? How does this end? I mean, hell, you would catch far more spies if you remove the innocent until proven guilty provisions as well. Say what you want about the Cardassian justice system, but they have 100% conviction rates. Now, I'll be honest, I know that this video has gone off the rails a bit, and unfortunately, I couldn't find any way to fix it. This is in fact the third time I've written this script. I felt it was important to get this video out, but we will be finishing the series in the next video, and I possibly will have a follow-up just going through everything we've discussed. So don't worry, guys. It's almost over. But stay tuned next time when we see Picard on the stand.